Welcome everybody. We're in the first point here at Grasshoppers RFC, the London Invite, and it is semi-final time in the mixed division. Canada versus Germany. Canada in the white, Germany in the red, and myself, Tom Stiles, alongside GG Morrison for this. Canada with the disc. They have no turnovers so far this point. Canada started on offense. Swing down the far sideline. 33 shirt of Gallant swings it back to the middle. Across to Podnar. It was not Podnar. Auger, Samer sprints down the line, receives, sends it into the space. Lots of space over in that far corner. Beautifully read. Sarah Jacobson reeling it in for a clean hold for the Canadians and a perfect start. And a chance to say hello to GG Morrison.
Good morning. I am a bit gassed at the moment, but I'm very excited for this game. Two extremely strong teams, World Games teams, of course, and Canada already wanting to give themselves an extra level ahead with that beautiful throw from Auger Samar across to Jacobson. That's probably going to be a very strong connection that we'll see time and time again, both at this tournament and in the World Games coming up in a couple of months.
Britt DeSantos, and it was Lauren Kimura who had the disc in the center of the field. So this is a replay, GG, of the first game of the last World Games cycle. So if you remember, we were in Alabama, in Birmingham, and the tournament was set up to go, and I think everybody came into that game expecting the Canadians to do really well and you know, push Germany really hard, and Germany were absolutely not ready to read that script, and gave Canada a really tough game and smashed them to bits, to be honest. And it opened up the whole tournament. We were all like, wow, World Games is going to be incredible. They're back now with a massively strong side, a lot of returning players for Germany, and a new coach in Ian French, who's got massive international success. The Irish women won European Championships with Ian French at the helm of that, and they have the disc now in red for Germany. Reaching up and grabbing Schürrle into space, takes it high and needed to as well. Greenwald gets it across to Prien. Prien into the end zone, and a clean hold for Germany. Really slick and tidy.
Yeah, having to get a pretty high grab in the end zone there, but some slick movement. We saw the initial cut manage to find some isolation in Konrad Schleur on the under, and then it just opened up this entire open side lane down the sideline here. Big fakes from Schleur, but manages to get this almost bladey around backhand, also having to rise is Greenwald, finding Nikki Prien. Nikki Prien, who had a phenomenal weekend at EBUCC last week with Jinx Midnight, getting gold in the women's division.
She's a serial champion, isn't she, Prien?
So impressive. Did take a few years away from the sport, but has thankfully come back, and at the highest possible level. Yeah. No less.
I spent some time in London earlier on in her ultimate career. So 1-1. Welcome if you're joining us online. Live here at London Invite. There's a slight breeze coming from left to right as you look at it from our big high cameras. We've got the ULTI.TV dream team down here covering these World Games sides in preparation for their trip to China in 2 months' time. Some brilliant games already this weekend. Canada gets it across to Jacobson. DeSantos trying to get free in the middle, and does. Back to Edmonds. DeSantos remains in space and receives it, and then exchanges this with Edmonds, who fires down the line. Big gain of yards down the field to Gallant. Not quite in. Across the field, loads of space, loads of time. Brings it under control. Ricky McLeod with a clean hold for Canada.
Some class offense that we're already seeing in the first 3 points here. really wanting to be as expansive as possible, not just vertically, so from end zone to end zone, but utilizing the entire width of the pitch. And it was that as soon as they managed to get towards that front end zone corner, blading it across to the other side where there weren't any defenders in any sort of space. Finding the receiver, this is another look at the deep shot. Massive jump. Gallant really wanting to get as close to the end zone as possible, but opening up the backhand to McLeod.
It's a sort of deep shot that instills confidence in a team. There's no float on that disc. It's direct, it's powerful, it's to a point in space. There's no time for a defender to get anywhere near that.
And it needs to be, because this wind is pretty powerful today. That is in the upwind direction. So just get another look at the brackets for today.
Yeah, three-way tie between Super Team USA and Germany, with Super Team beating USA but losing to Germany, and Germany are really happy about that. That left Super Team out of it. So USA are playing Australia on pitch 4. Canada and Germany is the show game here in front of the stands at London Invite.
And those lower bracket games are still going to be intense. I was watching a couple of the Canada under-24s games, and they were pushing every single World Games teams and Tokay, the Tokay Super Team as well, to the brink.
I think it's probably the best quality ultimate field I've seen, and certainly for such a small tournament, it is just packed with superstars. Greenwald now for Germany. Sends it around and it's picked off. It was didn't see the defender. Greenwald throwing directly into Canadian hands. Molly Wedge now, former GB player. So that was not Molly Wedge. Oh, it was Molly Wedge. Cutting deep. Tim Sang fakes the underneath, pulling the defender around, but no outlet at the moment. Eventually gets it across to Mott. Mott looking for the offhand, doesn't take the option. Wedge cuts free. High hand grabs on, gets it to Sang. Player down in the end zone. It's going to be a stoppage of play.
I'm not sure whether it's a, yeah, it is a pick. I thought I saw a foul hand signal, but been corrected with a pick.
Just a correction on earlier. I said that first hold was clean. There was a turn each in that. So, but we are on serve here. Just the 2 turns in the game so far. Tim Sang for TC. Some of the Canadians made their way into central London. There was some lovely shots on Instagram of them flicking the disc around on College Green in front of Big Ben and the Houses of Parliament. So wonderful to be able to share this capital city. Oh, and the mistake is returned as Germany get it back now. And Greenwald will be wanting to make up for that mistake earlier in the point. This is going to chase down, but it is caught. And a big flick. It's been caught by the wind. High rising disc. Bit of contact. Schlor calling the foul there. It was a bit of a hospital pass, GG. Yeah,
it seemed, I mean, I'm not sure whether that was the intended release. It definitely sat in the wind, and this wind has been tricky. Much tricky, well, less tricky than yesterday, but it's still quite swirly, not very predictable. Schlor immediately calling the foul.
I mean, I think he was, if there was something that stopped him catching that disc, it was the wind and not the defense. He had his hand in the right place, just caught it on the fingertips rather than the palm of the hand for the reception. Let's have another quick look at it. Goes up. Is there a bump on the back? Oh, there's a bump on the hip maybe as he went up.
Yeah, the back and the side. It's tricky to be able to say whether, if there wasn't as much contact or even no contact whatsoever, Schlor might have been able to get into the correct position to get that, even with the defensive pressure there. It's difficult for us to call in the booth because we're not on the field. We're not the players.
Don't let that stop us though, GG. I think the people need to know what we think.
And the right call here, contest.
Yep, that was. That's what the contest rule is all about. So, Mott on the mark with the disc for Germany is Müller. Tall player.
Yeah, Avamiller's got a wealth of experience, not just in Germany, but in Australia as well, playing in the juniors division for under-24s, WJUC. She's also played for BFD Shout last season, in 2024.
Disc coming back in now. Shot through the middle to a very fast running Scholler. Oh, it's such a difficult thing to be running directly the disc. Lisa Schultz on the far sideline. Gets it to Muller. Mulder sends it. Priyan cutting. Priyan dives. Priyan gets her fingertips to it but cannot connect. And that is another turn. That's the third turn of this point.
Priyan is always a tempting target for anyone on this German side. Again, last week at EBUCC, she was one of the top statisticians, not just for Jinx Midnight, but in the women's division. Particularly between Liv Kowalczuk and Priyan, just that connection is phenomenal. And Priyan not afraid to put her body on the line to try and get the bid attempt, now wanting to gain the D back herself.
There was some Lisa Schutz looking for the interception there, but Canada have it now with Mark Lloyd, third-time World Games player, and those are not consecutive. He wasn't involved in the last World Games cycle. Took a cycle out. Canada now with Dion. Dion floats into space. Priyan dives at the disc, straight into back camera. Let's have a look at that replay. It's, nearly took out the tripod here.
And that's exactly the kind of bid that I mean. She wasn't able to hold on to the disc in the end zone after a massively heroic bid. Has to then go for the redemption bid, really wanting for that disc back. She's hungry.
Great to see, that was a clean contact, bit of afters, but no call from Canada. That's the sort of intensity both these teams are going to need to see. Scholler now. Canada swing, offering that big swing across the pitch. Nico Muller into the end zone. And it's a score. Lisa Schutz with her, is that her second goal of the game? I think it is.
Yeah, not the cleanest point at that point, having 4 turnovers and 33 total passes, pretty much 50-50 split in terms of the number of passes between the sides, which is just indicating how close it is. They're applying the same amount of pressure on defense and really amping it up as we're getting into the first quarter of this game. But Germany releasing the pressure ever so slightly, playing on the back shoulder. Completely fearless bid. Did not care whatsoever what her body contact was going to be like.
Yeah, she was going to hit the ground hard, but she already had in that point. So Nico Muller, one of the anchors in the handling space for Germany. Played an absolutely crucial role over in Birmingham, Alabama, the last World Games cycle. And for those of you who weren't expecting to hear my voice, this is my birthday present. Coming to do this.
Happy birthday, I didn't know.
Thanks.
I feel like I've commentated more games on your birthday with you than not.
Yeah, so we were in London to go and see Hamilton last night with my daughter and my family, which was wonderful. And then we did have plans for today, but they all got cancelled. So this is my birthday present, to come here to London Invite and commentate on a World Games, pair of World Games teams. Gagan Chatter now. Spins it round to Malek OJ Samer. Back to Chatter. Flick onto the far side. Kimura. OJ Samer flicks forward into the corner. Chatter's there to collect. Smooth from the Canadians. No real threat from any red-shirted players.
I'd imagine that the Canadian O-line, when they were standing on the line, put on the emphasis that this needed to be a clean hold. Obviously, a clean hold is the main goal for most teams, but in this circumstance, we need to apply the pressure as early and as quickly as we possibly can. We don't want to make this hard for ourselves, so we're just going to do the fundamentals really nice and easily. And that's exactly what they're able to do. They're moving the disc relatively quickly, only holding onto the disc for maybe 2 or 3 seconds, but it's not rushed options either. They've got cuts coming for each other every single time. And the disc is able to move through the hands of near enough every single player until this throw from Oje Samar down the line to Chata, now giving them the 1 point separation.
You're on serve at the moment, still 3-2 to Canada. And a slightly different format for both these teams compared to World Games. So if you're not familiar, the World Games is 8 teams. They play 14 players on those teams. And obviously they've got slightly more, so they'll have some training players and they'll have some players that are not going to make the final line, some reservists and that sort of thing, that are here with them in London, just to make sure that they can survive a fairly intense weekend. There were a lot of games yesterday playing right into the evening with the floodlights here, but they will only have 14 players, 7 men, 7 women, when they go out to China. Chengdu is the destination for the World Games, but Canada pull and Germany have it.
Looks to be like a zony look. They've got
big shot going down deep. Mike McKenzie uses the big legs, gets all the way up there. Malcolm Bryson now sends the disc into the end zone, wedges the target. Nico Muller cutting, and it doesn't quite connect. The pressure from Muller was not the cause of that turnover, just a difficult grab coming over the shoulder of Wedge. And Germany very much let off the hook. Another one of these into the wind deep shots that are floating and giving the Canadians a chance. The Germans need to get control of their upwind deep shots, or just stop throwing that. Muller gets it back again from Priyan on the sideline. Scholler's available, but there's nothing through the middle. She signals with the hand what she wants. Nico Muller runs round the back and collects. Lots of space in the middle if they can get through this cup, and eventually they do. Scholler, Priyan cuts. No way around the big outstretched arms of Justin Podnar. Muller on the sideline finds a way through. Scholler scores a clean hold, but the Canadians asking some really tricky questions on defense there, Gigi.
Oh, they certainly were. I think it was a phenomenal idea for them to come down in a zone. Obviously, person to person, match for match, athletically they're extremely similar. So when you're doing match defense, there's a threshold to the amount of pressure that you can apply. But when you're faced up against a zone, the German players are having to then make significantly more passes and through really, really tricky marks. And Canada did a phenomenal job at suffocating that front set of handlers, having it look like either 3 at the front with a person in the middle or like a 4-person square, which is a defensive look I've seen a fair few times now. But Germany wanting to initially shoot deep, find that wide open receiver, but well defended.
Beautiful reach from Mike McKenzie. He saw it early, and that, I mean, if you've got a deep defender that can get up and read the disc well, he only needs a small mistake on the disc, and they're going to capitalize. And Mike McKenzie was just such a defender in the right position with a great read, and the wind not helping the Germans. Like I say, that's the second time they've tried to throw that big gainer into the wind, and it's not worked out for them. The Canadians will be happy to see more of those go up.
I don't think it's necessarily the wrong option. It's just it's one-on-one defense at that point.
Yeah.
And you can train that, but sometimes it's just the happenstance. Sometimes your defender gets in the right place. Sometimes the wind carries the disc in a certain direction. Sometimes you just aren't able to apply the right amount of beans to get yourself up to the disc. So again, I don't think they should stop looking at that option, but with consideration to the circumstances.
Yeah, now the wind carried that disc out of the sideline, and if the wind is coming a little bit from the left to the right, but it is also coming across the field from behind the camera towards the stands here at Grasshoppers Rugby Football Club, the hosts of the London Invite. And on the far sideline Canada have it now. McLeod floats a nice disc back into the hands of Edmonds. Britt DeSantos, Edmonds, and Chatter. Chatter surveys downfield and looks for an option. Robert was cutting but didn't take it. Now the disc is high. That's a sort of mistake that the Germans have been making. Kimura now. Lauren Kimura finds Edmonds. Kimura continues the cut, but it's a good positioning from the German defender, taking that away. A 75 shirt of Charlotte Schall. Gets it back to Chatter now via DeSantos. DeSantos has it again, flows down the line. Kimura bids, gets her hand to it, but cannot connect. And the Germans with a chance to come back downwind, if you can call it that. So close. Scholler gets things going. Schall leads. Takes a moment into the end zone. It's a great shot. It's just inside the end zone. Chatter way away from that deep cut from Jacob Diekman for the goal. And our first break of the game goes to the way of Germany.
Oh, it's getting exciting. I'm sure Canada won't be particularly happy with that one, but Diekman with the awareness to be able to just pop his feet over the other side of the line. And the response from Germany's D-line to find some flow and get things moving was really great. Honestly, they're so switched on and being able to think, okay, we don't need to rush this, we've got time. And again, being able to find that space, utilizing all of their break throws, and then the deep throw to Diekman, getting his first stat of the game.
I think I think that I'll just inform our statistician. The assist there was from Konrad Schuller. He can correct that. No, that was not the assist. The wrong assist. We're showing on the screen. That's Sontag. He didn't throw that. It was Konrad Schuller who threw it. So that we'll get that corrected on our system. But yeah, that connection between Schall and Scholler there was pretty sweet. Swing across to Schall. Schall perfectly floated disc into a really muddled passage, but knew exactly where the cut was going to go. And once Scholler had the disc in hand, he was only looking at one place. Wedge picks up for Canada. Wedge played for Team GB the last World Games cycle, but as Canadian by birth, certainly Canadian by accent.
She's been living in the UK for quite a while now, currently playing with Bristol Women, based out of Bristol, of course.
She's been a Bristol player as long as I remember watching her play, but enjoying her time with TC here in London. Certainly a shorter journey for her to get here than the rest of the squad. Down the line now, Kurahashi gets it back into the hands of Bryson. Bryson to Mackenzie. Mackenzie floats it forward now to Snyder. Anushka Beaudry to Bryson. Bryson looking for that little flick over the top. There's not enough space there. German defense taking care of the options, and a pick has been called. Bryson now with disc in hand. Volchak on the cover. Oh, reached up again. The wind dealt a blow to that, and Volchak was already looking at Schall going deep. Mackenzie not having to do any work on that deep coverage on this occasion. Bryson comes back. Wrong edge on that disc down the line to Beaudry, but it didn't matter. Snyder again. Moving it forward on the far side, there's loads of space, but contact as he came through from David Metzger.
Germany having some players happy to poach into the lane. I've seen Walczak not necessarily marking an individual, but just kind of being a nuisance, trying to clog up that open side space as much as possible.
Yeah, I think watch the way Germany are playing their team defense. I think that's the best way to put it. Kurahashi floats it forward to Wedge. Wedge inside channel, no problem. Snyder available. And eventually putting it in. Germany throwing away a really good opportunity to break again. They're currently 1 break up, but this is a very, very balanced game.
It certainly is. Even in that points there, 2 turnovers, so 1 apiece. I think there was a simple miscommunication. Walczak had eyes for the deep space, but Charles wasn't necessarily as switched on to what Walczak was wanting in that instance. But again, Canada being able to flip it back for themselves. It wasn't a clean hold, but they've managed to stem the bleed of a possible other break for Germany. They're bringing it to 4-4 level pegging.
Do you think when Scholler was about to go cut deep and he saw Mackenzie already in the right space with the shoulders facing the right way, he thought, you know what, I'm not going to take that on because I remember what happened last time?
I don't think so. I think it was more a circumstance of, oh, I faked my defender off, I'm going to come back under. I've got the wide open under at this point. But okay. Walczak just saw her option and took it, but wasn't aware that there was other happenings going on downfield, which is extremely understandable. It does happen.
Well, by the time Walczak had put so much body into that pass, by the time that the cut had come back underneath, she was already facing the ground with a big pass ready to uncork. 4 apiece here in London at the London Invite. This is the semi-final of the mixed division, and Germany and Canada, the teams in front of you. Tom Stiles alongside Gigi Morrison, your commentary team for ULTI.TV. And the disc floats towards the sideline and lands in, just in, and that's going to be beneficial for Canada, but Germany making a quick start. Nico Muller gets it to Prien. Havermuller cutting around, but well covered by Wedge. But that beautiful shape on the cuts brings her back into space. Comes across now to 17, and contact made. Lasse Hogan. And replay of that. Foot block from Tim Tsang. Sends it out, and a turn to Canada.
Tsang, again, a wealth of experience across so many teams throughout Vancouver, has also played for La Fota back in 2018 at WCC. But I mean, if you look at any of the players on both of these rosters, you're going to be looking at a long list of national teams.
Far sideline now for Canada, chance to break back. Podnar. Tsang reaches up and takes it cleanly. Podnar now cuts a lovely inside break. No stopping him getting away from Nico Muller, reaching up into the end zone, not quite there. Turns around, is there a way through? German defenders finally get position. It's a dump pass back to Wedge. Wedge with the offhand, and it's a beautiful disc from Wedge. In the moment, under pressure, just takes the disc into the lefty, over the shoulder, beautifully into space. Well done.
Yeah, the break back to bring them on serve here. Now at 5-4. That grab just outside the end zone from Anushka Baudry was a thing of beauty. Again, it sat up maybe a little bit higher than initially intended. An immense pressure at the force from Prien, staying wide, and then Wedge back on the reception. Didn't like the initial shot, so goes for the offhand backhand onto the break side. Relief for Canada.
I mean, it was a rough throw. It was the roughest of rough throws, but it didn't matter because there was so much space over there, and it's like, well, any disc into that area is going to hang long enough for a Canadian receiver. Let's just see who that was. Podnar was the receiver there. Yeah, brilliant play. So, what a game we've got here, Canada and Germany. Like I say, this was the opener for last time round World Games when Canada really took a beating there, but they've rebuilt. This is a really, really strong and impressive side out here. I think talking to coach Ian French from Germany before the game, his tactic was we are using this as a data gathering and a learning experience. So each game we're going to be trying something different, and we'll see if it works. And if it does, then great. And if it doesn't, then. But we're not necessarily focused on the result. His approach to taking Germany forward has been to get them to be more flexible. So they don't just apply the same rigid format of Ultimate to every game they play. They can be a lot more adaptable. So that's the strategy. 2 months to go before World Games. Germany on the sideline now. A big high grab from Schutz. Already with 2 goals in this game, Schutz.
Some sort of discussion about maybe a pick call. Disc is going to stay in the hands of Schutz and then checked back in.
One of the younger players on the team, 3rd bronze medal for Germany under 24s in 2023. That tournament in Nottingham, my hometown. Nico Muller. Shot inside. Muller to Scholler has been a popular choice. It worked on that occasion. No stopping the German. Fast movement. Hartley Greenwald rising high and taking that disc down. It's really interesting to see, because we called out that shot as being a bit of a weak link for Germany earlier in the game, but they're persisting, and then they just took away any risk, and it was like a blasted shot into the wind.
I mean, they know how to utilize their deep space, and it's something that I think they should continue to do, even if it's been well defended by Canada or really any other defender before. Schler really didn't hesitate on that throw, and that's exactly what they need to do. They need to just be confident and decisive, and yet do some micro adjustments to make sure that it's the correct throw. So in that circumstance, Schler had the awareness to make sure that it was significantly more OI, but sat with enough spin so that it didn't catch in the wind and just floated into Greenwald's hands perfectly.
Yeah, Hartley Greenwald and a time out here. Greenwald originally from the USA, playing in Germany for a number of years now, played with Wall City. And we'll be back in a minute after these messages.
Lightspeed VC, a global venture capital firm, proud to sponsor excellence and team cohesion worldwide.
Welcome back to London Invite here in the beautiful sunshine. It's a gorgeous London day. Tom Stiles and Gigi Morrison here with the pleasure of bringing you this mixed division semi-final. Germany in the red and Canada in the white. And we are tied up. 1 break each. 5-5, half an hour gone. It's been tense, it's been exciting. Both teams have had a few flutters, but we're finally balanced, ready for a very exciting closeout. A chance to play the winner of Australia and USA in the final later here on ULTI.TV.
Yeah, it's certainly been a game that is swinging either way, honestly. It's very difficult to be able to call who's going to be coming out on top. We've had a break for each side, but later on into the game, so Germany took the first break after 3-3, bringing it to 4-3. Canada then breaking back, bringing the teams on serve again.
Disc goes to ground, but there's a player's fingers underneath it. Kimura now. Malik OJ saw that disc flash by. Was that for me? No, it wasn't. You're all right. Gallant was there. Chatter looks for the disc, but Edmonds finds Gallant instead on the far sideline. The cut is still there. Interesting defense from Germany now. Trying to pin them back. Come scurrying across to take away the options. Malik OJ floats across to Gallant. Gallant finds Jacobson down the far sideline. The distinctive blonde hair. Chatter continues the pass. Gallant's the target. There's a fingertip near that disc, but it isn't near enough. And Canada come out of that timeout with a clean hold.
Just about, though, not without an immense amount of pressure from Greenwald, trying to bid through, get a swipe, get a fingertip to it. But Canada, confident start after that timeout. I'm actually not sure who called that timeout. Wouldn't be surprised if it was Germany, but still just bring it back to 6-5. Again, the confident reception from Marty Gallant.
Yeah, Gallant played a lot of Ultimate already in his career. Ottawa based, played with the Ottawa Outlaws and competed in 2022 for Canada Open in the junior division, one of the younger players. But this is definitely the highlight on the CV so far. A chance to travel to China, to Chengdu, and play with World Games TC. I was chatting to Justin Podner on the sideline, former U24 player making his way up. I'd commentated on his games in the past, and he said hi. I was like, "What's the experience been like so far?" He says it's just amazing. Everywhere you look, there's just greatest players, another greatest player, and another greatest player, and it's been an amazing experience. So it really is the pinnacle of our sport, the World Games, and it's been a privilege to watch these players come out here and compete and prepare. And yeah, this is not necessarily what we'll see when we watch in Chengdu.
Yeah, it's a field or a pool of massively impressive athletes, but this isn't even them at their prime yet.
Yeah, exactly. Nico Muller sends it across to Ava Muller, and she sends it deep. Scholler the target. Lloyd underneath with a little bit of contact. And I think there's going to be a big old foul call coming here because Lloyd really lent into that.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at that call whatsoever. Schleur has got quite a lot of experience across the pond in the US and Canada, having played for Pony for a number of years, so he's probably played up against a decent number of these Canadian players, particularly the male matching side. Schleur still trying to go in for the grab just in case he didn't have to call the foul, but I'm not too surprised. Yeah, Lloyd getting into the back shoulder a fair amount.
Schleur's boxed him out, and he's gone, "Right, no, you haven't boxed me out because I'm just going to barge you out of the way." Is what that replay showed to me. Mark Lloyd is clearly of a different opinion. There's no route for Lloyd to this disc unless he goes through the player. So that's what, I mean. To be fair to Lloyd, he's not got eyes on where Schleur is, but I don't know if there's much of a contest in that.
Yeah, I think he was still relatively aware of where Schleur was aiming for, like his body position. And at this point, it having been
contested,
past the time, about 45 seconds, it's going to go back into the hands of Ava Muller. I love the throw from Ava Muller, though. It sat beautifully towards the break side. It was definitely going towards the right channel.
Yeah, and from you know, behind her own brick mark. This is powerful throwing into the wind from Muller. Lloyd and Schleur continue their conversation. And they'll be watching this video back. Do you sit on the fence about those sorts of calls, GG, or do you like to have your opinion 100% clear?
Situation specific. In that circumstance, I am not on the fence.
Okay. Oh, and more contact and a big bid coming across the shoulder and another call. Snyder, the offender this time, and I don't think he is going to contest that. Prien with the pass. There were, again, no way through to that disc unless you go through the back of players. Contact made uncontested. Floating forward. No mistake, Mackenzie reading it this time. The turnover does eventually come. Oh, and it's a floaty pass. Lloyd reads it well. No German players nearby. Team Canada now. High grab, needed to be fast disc from Lloyd. Snyder, side of the field, floats it into the back of the end zone. Read beautifully. Canada bring it down. Florence Dion with the goal. Another break to Canada. And furious German reaction from some of the players there. Not enjoying the physicality of that point, and but there's no doubt who scored it.
Yeah, Canada coming out on top on that one. I'm not sure whether I empathise or sympathise with the German side in terms of the frustration with the physicality. Obviously, again, I'm in the booth. I'm not on the pitch. Very different circumstances, but the physicality in some circumstances isn't great. And I think when it came to the German offense, it did it possibly got into their heads.
The turnover eventually came from just a missed throw into the wind, read better by the Canadians, and some fast movement and a clean pass. You can't argue with the way that they're putting pressure on. Germany aren't responding, and you know they're going to face this sort of stuff in China. This is the coach has got to, regather. This is the sort of stuff we need to learn to deal with. We need to learn to play against.
And it's not like they're deep in a hole at all.
Oh,
yes, it's a 2-point separation. Canada have gotten a break up in this circumstance, so they're now in favour here, but it's still a very tricky circumstance that Germany are in. There's 1 point until half, and Germany do have offense.
They got offense coming out of the half
so
as well.
It's not a bad position to be in, but it's also, this could be the turning point. If Germany start to slack and pull away, and Canada come out firing with this momentum that they've currently got, it could mean the end of the game for Germany.
Yeah, big margins are often difficult to get back, but big, swings of momentum are also possible. Key point here, Germany on offense. Have they loaded this line? No, you can't really load a World Games line. It's all superstars, isn't it?
Pretty much.
4 women on the field for this point. We play the ABBA rule, and we also have gender match pulling. So if there are 4 women on the field, it'd be a woman pulling. And in this case, Florence Dion has the honour. Disc in hand for Team Canada.
I think that's my favourite rule introduction of the last few years. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, no reason. It's one of those rules that when it comes in, Liam is sitting right next to us, and he's like, that was my rule, I introduced that, and he did. Through the Players Commission, through the WFDF. Big shot coming downfield now, chasing it down. Greenwald got position and takes it down easily. There was a gender mismatch in the deep space. Florence Dion trying to keep pace, but with the extra height and a great read, that was a safe deep shot. And Germany back within 1.
I wouldn't say it was 100% safe deep shot, particularly because Dion, not only did she try to keep up, she did keep up. That disc it didn't really have a great deal of touch behind it. It was zippy, so Greenwald had to really turn on the jets and boost, and Dion was right there with him.
I'm loving watching Ava Muller's pulling and deep shots. She's got such a powerful flick. And the read she took on that disc, as it's coming out of her hand, it's still got quite a lot of I.O. on it. but she knows with the direction of the wind, it's just going to turn enough, it's going to fade enough, and then it's going to be drifting into the end zone, trusting the receiver. But that's a powerful weapon. What's your take on like the potency of having a really strong female handler in the line that can sort of throw those 70-meter deep shots?
It's powerful, honestly. It can open up the field to a ridiculous extent, because it just makes, I don't know, it also makes you a defensive target. It's tricky to call. Again, it's very situation specific, because it's not just 1 against 7 defenders. It is, again, a team sport, but having that extra offensive handler firepower from a female matching side is really powerful.
Britt DeSantos gets the disc back to Edmonds. Edmonds swings across to Chatter now for Canada. And he sends a deep shot. Auger Samer, the target, into space, catches the tape a little bit, but safely makes his way into the end zone. Someone give that tape a little pull. And Auger Samer points to the tape. Well, that could have had me there. And Canada take half, 8-6.
Yeah, I'd imagine that if Auger Samer had tripped over the tape, there might have been some sort of equipment risk call. I don't know. The disc probably would have gone back, or it might have been brought in on the front line. I don't know. They would have sorted it out amongst themselves. But the concentration from Auger Samer to make sure that even after the trip he held onto the disc was great. Now the 2-point separation going into the second half. Both these teams going to take a little bit of a breather.
Yeah, we will do the same as well, or do we? I don't know. What's the deal? Are we going to keep going?
We do.
We do. Take a break. Yeah. It's my first game back in a while. Tom Stiles and GG Morrison with you here in London, watching 2 World Game squads prep here at the London Invite. What exciting ultimate we've had so far. We'll be back with more here from London. Germany and Canada continue shortly.
Shopping Zillow and need a trusted resource for your real estate questions? Want to check on loan pre-approval? Reach out to HomeForce, an all-in-one home buying service engineered for ultimate players, fans, and friends. The HomeForce team provides services in real estate, mortgage financing, insurance, and much more. No pressure, no commitment, just trusted advice.
What are they, spaceships from Mars? No, they're Frisbees. Watch it soar. It flies way around like a bird. You can even run for a pass. You can play all kinds of games. Isn't it amazing? Frisbee Flying Saucer. Yours at toy, drug, and department stores.
Lightspeed VC, a global venture capital firm proud to sponsor excellence and team cohesion worldwide.
I worked for a Michelin star chef making gelato in Paris. I had my own restaurant in Nicaragua and a food truck in Australia. Why wouldn't you watch me? Check out my YouTube channel.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
Welcome back to London Invite, Grasshoppers RFC, just near Twickenham on West London. We're about half an hour away from the city centre here. And here is the mixed division bracket. You can see USA and Australia in the other semi-final, Canada, Germany, the game that we are watching right here. And Tokay SuperTeam caught in a three-way tie. They beat USA, but they lost to Germany, and Germany were chuffed to bits about that.
Yeah, that Tokay USA game being the showcase match last night. Should definitely watch that back on ULTI.TV. We also had a halftime juniors match, which was honestly so much fun to watch.
I love it.
It was so high energy. Everyone was so keen, and honestly, they played really well. So even if you don't want to watch Tokay versus USA, watch the halftime game because it was really lovely.
The Lloyd Park Leaks are one of my favourite teams in the world. My son plays a lot of junior ultimate at the moment, and everywhere we go, the Lloyd Park Leaks are there with the whole bunch of energy. And who were they playing against last night? I don't know.
I do not remember. I'll have to watch it back myself.
Yes, it was the Epsom team, wasn't it? The Epsom team, which is Dan Berry's squad. Nico Muller now gets it across to Ava Muller. Prien cuts across the middle, but it's a kind of fairly loose defense. A big dive goes in from Lloyd. He jumps up, but the deep shot is already down the field, not able to reach it. It's a turnover. Lasse Hogan diving one-handed.
I'm not sure. There appears to be either an injury or was there a foul call? I'm not sure. That throw did come out quite low, so if there is a foul, I wouldn't be too surprised, but it looks like Lloyd has come off.
Yeah, after that
Canada.
Big layout, GG, he may be a little bit sore.
It was huge, and landing on this surface, whilst it's 3G and softer than some of the grass pitches around here, is still pretty firm.
Yeah. Hot surface in this sort of weather. The black rubber crumb absorbs all that heat and then throws it back up in your face as you're running around. See Levka Volshak walking in front of us. She's had a quiet game so far. We've barely mentioned her.
I mean, when you're amongst a team of superstars, it's hard to shine as bright.
Tim Tsang moving it quickly now. Canada. Malcolm Bryson gets it back from Kurahashi. Bryson again. Kurahashi again. Edmonds cuts across. Bryson trying to get free of the attention of Greenwald. Can't. Edmonds marked by Schlur. Kurahashi comes across into the line. Bryson's there. Molly Wedge trying to get free. Goes down the line and contact made and then call made.
The Schlur's leg jabbed out honestly really quite far. It was pretty impressive, and Edmonds maybe caught or clipped the back of the hand to the foot to just get another look at that.
Oh, he's already called
or the bit
foul.
afterwards.
Yeah. 8-6 score. Tom Stiles and GG Morrison commentating on this one. Mike McKenzie to Tim Tsang, moving it quickly now to Edmonds. Edmonds has Kurahashi cutting, not taking it. She's still at the front of the end zone. Tim Tsang again resets. Edmonds needs signalling to where he needs to be. Bryson back to Edmonds now. And very comfortable to keep this moving. The short passes. And a low disc connected or not. No call from Germany that disc might have been down. The disc into the end zone is loose though. Bryson bids. Maybe a tiny hesitation and Bryson injured as he hits the ground. Takes a walk off the field. Yeah, tiny hesitation on that cut from Bryson before he fully got up to speed again.
And Germany also making a substitution. I feel like with the initial injury substitution, I saw Müller get subbed off. And now Müller has subbed back on.
Okay.
I might be mistaken, but I think I saw that.
Ava Müller now, marked by Molly Wedge for Canada. Germany in red here. Schleur to Greenwald. Hartley Greenwald. Floats it into space. Classic German pass. From your defenders not marking the space, and that is an absolute hospital pass. Again, Germany trying to get these shots into the wind. More often than not now, they are a source of turnovers, a rich vein of turnovers, which the Canadians can't stop themselves from mining. But that's a loose one from Wedge. Prien pulls it down with some glee, and both these teams need to stabilise here as Prien goes down both elbows into the turf. Nice, easy, smooth throw up the line to Erdmann, one of the younger players, new player to the World Games team for Germany. Johanna Erdmann. Schleur is there. Erdmann's gone deep. The shot is to her. Runnings into space, loads of space, acres of space. You could get out a tractor and start a farm over there. Beautiful work from Germany. Brick back within one. It's 8-7.
And that's definitely the pressure release valve wide open at that point. Now bringing it within one. Not clean at all. A flurry of turnovers from both sides. Again, like, it's just such immense pressure from the defense on both sides. Some of the throws, I will admit, were not optimal whatsoever. There were certainly some shots that need to be reined in. This throw from Schleur, I was personally a little bit unsure of until I actually saw the full release of it. It was, for a long leverage throw, it was a relatively short amount, didn't really step too far out of the pivot to the point where the force was still quite close in. But Schleur seems to have some sort of whip backhand, bringing it from the break side all the way across to the open side. And for the score now to Iddelman.
There's a huge bid on that throw as well, and I'm somewhat relieved that the bid was nowhere near the disc, because I think if it had have been, there would have been some sort of, catastrophic injury to one of the two players involved, because there was Schleur was going for that throw. So within one, still trailing by a break, but Germany close with an hour on the clock here at London Invite. And Volchak, there she is, on the D-line. That's, I think, perhaps why we've not mentioned her name as often is because maybe she's neutralising whoever she's marking, and they're not getting the disc. She's got the defensive duties of Britt DeSantos, and we have mentioned her a couple of times. Let's watch that situation a bit closer. Now it's Canada's turn to just send that upwind disc a little high, and Germany with a chance to level it up. Volchak with disc in hand. Oh, beautiful pass across the field, opening up the space. Canada scampering to make up the ground. A shot into the end zone. It's read better by Penelope Robert and sends it across to Jacobson. A little bit of float, this crosswind causing havoc. Britt DeSantos. Back to Chatter. A turn each in this point. DeSantos gets to Auger Samer and across into the hands of Kimura. Lauren Kimura gets it to Auger Samer, fakes the upline flick. DeSantos is lurking, but Chatter is ahead of her. DeSantos cuts into that break space again. Volchak is immediately upon her. Auger Samer, pressure building on the Canadians now. DeSantos with an outlet down the line to Kimura. Kimura cranks up the arm, sends it into space. beautifully read into the hands of Ricky McLeod. McLeod resets back to Robert. Onto the line now, Kimura looking into the end zone, cannot find anything. Britt DeSantos bustling around at the back, trying to get a reset out. There's a hand up at the back of the end zone, floats into space. Chatter dabs the foot. It's declared a goal by Germany. And real big let off for Canada. Lots of pressure, lots of turnovers from both teams, but they really showed a lot of composure in front of that end zone.
Yeah, just about managing to hold onto possession there with Chatter. And it's that catch at the end was almost the antithesis of the rest of that possession from Canada. Canada under an immense amount of pressure from the German defense, to the point where when they were closer to the German end zone, they were getting pushed further and further and further back. Initially it gained a few yards and then got pushed further back again, but then were able to work it down. And this throw from Kimura didn't like the initial option. The stall count is rising, wanted the break shot to Ojay Samar, who kind of stopped his cut initially and then saw the cut from Chatter. Chatter towing it in perfectly. Now 2-point separation here as we're getting closer to the end of timed game. Games are only 70 minutes long here, so a little bit shorter than they'll come up against other World Games. And the points cap is slightly different to yesterday. So yesterday it would just be a case of you'd finish the points after the time cap had gone off. As long as there isn't a draw, you're good to end the game there. But here it's finish the points and then add one to the high score, and it's game to that.
9-7 here at the Grasshoppers RFC London Invite Tournament. One of the highest quality small tournament. There's only 4 fields here at Grasshoppers, and every single one of them is stacked with super high quality ultimate. From the UK, from Europe, World Games teams, 2 Australian teams here making the trip. I mean, that is a significant bit of effort and energy to put into preparation for World Games Tournament. And the World Games Tournament is still 2 months away. Greenwald sends the fake. Ava Muller. She's been so devastating with her deep shots, but forced to holster them by a different defensive look, finding her way through the maze of white-shirted Canadian players. Greenwald cuts across, and a disc into the ground from Prien, immediately busting deep to make some coverage, but now has to drop back in. Nico Muller with Mike McKenzie in the end zone. Wedge now for Canada. Out to Dion. Dion up the line into red shirt hands, floating into the end zone. Greenwald's going to have to read this, going to have to lay it, just couldn't quite get hold of it. The wind winning that battle.
Germany were asking a lot of Greenwald here. That poach off from Lasse Hogan. Saw the option that he wanted, but honestly, I think the force kind of got in the way. Like, the force did the defense correctly and made Hogan have to step out even further, and that backhand just got trickier in that upwind direction, but asking a lot of each other.
Pit called as the play got restarted on the far side there. The tall figure of Quinn Snyder, 1 goal and 1 assist for the number 98 shirt. So somewhat messy game from both of these teams, but a place in the final at odds. That disc is going to drift, and just enough pressure put on it. Running down field, Germany clinging on to this game.
Yeah, they're not giving up easily at all, and they definitely shouldn't. They're coming in with the right defensive pressure and the right mindset of, yeah, we're down by 2, but we're not out of this entirely. Even if we are getting close to the end of game, there's still plenty of opportunities for Germany to continue to break back.
I think Dion actually had a chance to grab that disc, but having cut so hard and run so hard, on a mistake this time from Germany. Canada with an opportunity to put it in. Snyder on the edge of the end zone now. Flip back to Bryson available. Bryson cuts, but great positional from Nico Muller. Just look at the low position and a big shoulder into the path of Lasse Hogan. Takes that contact. Look at Nico Muller's positioning here. Just keeps the legs moving, tries to get back across, cannot stop that 1-2 passes.
Yeah, high level of physicality again. A little bit of argy-bargy in the handler space. It's not uncommon, particularly when players are so tight-knit and close together.
Tap in, Snyder. Nothing cutting at the moment. They've got the cup surrounded, but Kurahashi finds a way through. And another break. And it's 10-7 to Canada. And some very happy Canadians there, having redeemed themselves. Maybe coming into this cycle with something to prove, having not got the result they wanted over in Birmingham, Alabama.
Yeah, as somebody that enjoys a lot of Frisbee, there's always been, well, not always, in the last couple of years, I'd say there's been whisperings of not the downfall of Canadian Ultimate, but there's just been a slight downturn in terms of the quality compared to the rest of the field. And I'm not sure whether that's because there's been this flood out, maybe like an exodus or a drop off of some of the more experienced and senior players, and then it's having to flood in through some youth, or maybe the youth program hasn't been as strong recently and it's only finding its resurgence, or that the rest of the field is improving itself comparative to the Canadian level, and that's just kind of stayed level. But here we're seeing the creme de la creme of Canadian Ultimate, and they are absolutely showing up. If they can go into World Games with this kind of energy and this kind of grit and grind, they'll certainly perform very well.
Yeah, superb performance from the Canadians. And my take on that, GJ, is that the rest of the world have risen, and the really impressive thing is that there's still such a big margin between the rest of the world and the USA. That has come down a little as well. But yeah, last time's World Games, I think, and last time's World Clubs just demonstrated that USA and Canadian dominance is no longer a guarantee. Mistakes coming thick and fast for Germany now. A chance for Canada as though we get the call that the time is over. So it's the end of this point. We'll add 1 to the final score. That'll be the target. It could be a mountain to climb if Canada can put it in. Edmonds on the disc now. Contact between Volchak and Britt de Santos. Great Brittany in Great Britain.
De Santos taking her time to stand up. Just having the conversation with Volchak about the contact. We've got Mark Lloyd on the sideline signaling for the foul and giving us the open arms with the accepted foul.
Canada with Edmonds. Jacobson cutting. Deep shot targeting OJ Samer. He's gone deep, and Samer manages to get there. Got the wheels, got the slide. Too many German defenders nearby. And a timeout called. Lots of contact and discussion to be had after that one. But great hustle from the Germans to get up there to stop that quick score. A beautiful slide. So just to absolutely make sure of that.
I'm not sure of the timeout call from OJ Samar personally. I'm not the biggest fan, but I'm also not playing, so.
There's a couple more counts in there for me before the timeout is desperately necessary. But I suppose it's two sides of the same story, isn't it? If he waits until it's stall 8, you then got to come out of the stall come out of the timeout on stall 8. That's not an easy situation to be in either. So it's 10-7 is the score. In Canada, Germany here at the London Invite. We're in a timeout situation. You see the team that are on the field at the moment on the left, and the rest of the TC squad on the right, and Germany not far from them. I always find it odd that the teams, whenever they do a timeout, they get near each other, almost to provide like a little bit of, we're not scared by you, we're not worried by you. We've got the body confidence and the to stand near you and take our timeout here. GG.
And here we have our Kennington Doghouse play of the game. So Canada on offense. Beautiful inside throw across the sideline, and then Prien coming in with the phenomenal bid. Again, that's something that she has practiced time and time again. An incredible player for Team Germany, previously for Seagulls, for Jinx Midnight. Again, a wealth of experience. Has also played across in the US back in 2016. Has also played for GB Women's. Honestly, she's been everywhere.
She's a beast. Anushka Baudry, the attacking player, back in now. Oj Samer on the sideline. On the front zone, it's going to be a lot of air underneath that, a lot of players, but it's beautifully read. And into the end zone. What a takedown that was by Ricky McLeod. Sarah Jacobson there, banging on the door. And an easy flip into the end zone. But again, we've seen this wind just causing havoc with those crossfield shots.
Yeah, it's so much more difficult to be able to predict what's going to happen. You can be an extremely seasoned thrower. You've done it hundreds, if not thousands and thousands of times, possibly even to the same receivers in the same circumstances. And yet the wind, the universe, some sort of karmic force decides that that's not what's going to happen. I'm going to just tip it up this way. But the Canadian receivers, with absolute conviction and determination, wanting to close off this game, bringing it now to a game to 12. Canada up 11 to Germany's 7.
Well, a really impressive part about that take from Ricky McLeod is that his defender, who also bid for the disc, was Jakob Diekman, who is a good 7 or 8 inches taller. But McLeod just had eyes on the disc and read it beautifully. Took it down for the score. So 11-7 here, and Canada in a really dominant position now. See Thomas Edmonds just coming over to check the score. Gotcha.
So if you were in Team Germany's circumstance here, you're 4 points down, you're on match point. What kind of things would you be strategizing or thinking about?
Well, score your offense first. I mean, I think that has been the weak link. It's certainly since it was 4-all and Germany had got 1 turn to the good. Since then, Canada have looked like they've had the measure of Germany with 4 breaks back. And if we look at the stats, we can see the Germany offense have turned over 4 times and been scored on 4 times.
That pull was phenomenal. Managed to land pretty deep in the end zone, just sliding towards the sideline. Charlotte Jarl having to take it to, well, pretty much where it landed on that sideline, and then a first throw turnover.
And Canada with a chance to put this one away now. And I think that is our game. Team Canada take their place in the London Invite Final, a chance to play the winner of USA versus Australia, which I can see is still being played over on the other field. Oh, apparently that's not the end of the game. Is that my misreading what's happened? Is it game to 13? Or no, that is game.
I was going to say that would have gone against the rules.
Yeah, they're circling up for a spirit huddle. That's my bad. Right, Gigi, just sum up that game for us there. It seemed like both teams were really finely balanced in the first half, but in the second half there was just only one team in it.
Yeah, it swung either way, and honestly, they were very even at the start, as you'd mentioned. Germany putting on an extremely strong showing, but at some point, at around about, so they got their first break to bring it to 5-4, And I think it was really from there they got into Germany's heads, and Germany weren't as able to execute things as well as they have previously done. I don't know whether that was some sort of mental pressure and just as a collective things started to slip and fall down, or whether it was simply execution errors. But I know for certain that Germany are going to come away and try to work on refining those things. We get a look at the breakdown of the stats. Germany had 13 break chances, only able to, well, they converted 5 of those.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that the Germany O-line had only turned over 4 times, but it had been...
Oh, they are the wrong way round. I was going to say that feels very confusing.
Okay, right. Yes, I was confused by that as well. So yeah, we'll take those stats off. It was a very, very close game, yeah, I think too many mistakes from Germany in that second half, and Canada capitalising on and putting a lot of pressure. But these two teams have got to regroup. They've got 2 months to put themselves together, and they'll be off to China. And we will be watching. We hope you will be watching too. But for now, from London, from Grasshoppers and London Invite, we are happy to say that Canada will advance into the final to play against USA and Australia. But for Tom Styles, for Gigi Morrison, for the rest of the ULTI.TV crew, thanks to Bryn Styles, who's been doing all the stats for us. Thank you very much for joining us in London, and keep watching ULTI.TV. We'll be back soon.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, ultimate.
ULTI.TV.
Try something money can't buy. You and me should go there.